Today, let's look at the origin of physical death. These things are not much to be discussed. You know what, generally anyone who knows the Bible understands this. Death was not the origin. Okay, the origin of physical death. First of all, I want to say death was not part of the original creation. When God created everything, he said everything was very good, right? So human existence is not intrinsically mortal. We are not created simply to die. It was subject to death only after seeds of corruption were sown in it. The moment Adam sinned, seeds of corruption was sown into Adam. Seeds of death was sown into Adam the moment he disobeyed God. This was apparently true of all conscious animate life prior to the fall. So if you really understand the scripture, yes, death was not part of God's creation at all. God created beings not to die. Now, death came as a result of Adam's sin. Yes, in Genesis 2, we read God saying to Adam, the day that you eat from this tree, the fruit from this tree, you will surely die. You will surely die. And when they ate, so he said, you will surely die, right? When they ate, what happened? In chapter 3, verse 19, this is what we read, by the sweat of your face you will eat bread till you return to the ground. God said for the first time, because from it you are taken, for you are dust, and to dust you shall return. Right? So, yes, death came because of Adam's sin. And in Romans 5:12, very clear, through one man's sin, sin entered into the world. We know who is that one man, Adam. And that is the reason in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, in Adam, all die, we read. So, yes, our point is here, death came as a result of Adam's sin. Now, here is a question. How can we explain the fact that Adam did not surely die on the day he ate of the fruit? Did he die? God said, on the day you eat, you shall surely die. On the day you eat, you shall surely die. Did Adam die on the day he ate? We have already suggested about that Adam died spiritually when he ate of the fruit, even though he lived unphysically. We already talked about that, yes. So that removal of fellowship with God happened, no matter what people say, it happened. So spiritual death happened. This explanation, however, seems to be something of a technical escape from more obvious meaning that Eve would have inferred, right? That is physical death. So, yes, we can technically explain that Adam died spiritually, but in the day that you eat, you will die. Probably did they think about physical death? Indeed, Genesis 3:19 and 1 Corinthians 15:22 cited above are clear in saying that physical death was incurred in the fall. Right? Death entered right? In Adam, all die, right? We read. So yes, physical death is also happening, and the only remedy for it is physical resurrection. So the question is physical death happens because of sin? Absolutely yes. But when Adam sinned, he did not die physically. But elsewhere, Bible clear, physical death is because of sin. So how do we explain that phrase? This being case, then how do we harmonize God's statement that the very death in view would occur on the day you eat? On the day you eat, you will surely die. If it has a connection to physical death, how are we going to explain? Two ways to be explained. God would have intended the lesser idea that on the day you eat the seeds of corruption and death, you eat the seeds of corruption, and death will be sown on your mortality, will be assured. So that the idea is that on the day you eat this fruit, the seed, you're eating what? You're eating the seed of corruption and death. That means your death is sure. This is possible, but it does not seem to be obvious meaning. Maybe maybe there's a better explanation, right? In that day, you will surely die. A better alternative is to take the phrase "in that day" of Genesis 2:17 in an idiomatic sense, because if you learn Hebrew, yes, you may be able to understand with the word bathe. It simply means, and thus, when you eat, you will die. All right? Or better translation is, if you eat this food, you will surely die. Maybe that's a little better translation. Or when you eat, you will die. Well, again, these are not most literal readings available to the English reader, but the idiom is attested elsewhere in Hebrew translations offered in NIV and maybe NLT too. So the idea simply is that when you eat, you will die. That means if you eat, you are going to die sure. That's what it means. In the day you eat the food, you will die. Can means if you eat, you are going to die for sure. Not only spiritual death, it also includes physical death. So as spiritual death, if it includes spiritual death, no doubt the result of spiritual death is physical death. So physical death also is involved there in that place. So we looked at death came as a result of sin, right? So this is what the origin of physical death. Coming to the cause of physical death. What are the causes of physical death? If you really look into the cause of physical death, there are a lot of causes. Number one, direct cause. That is, or sometimes we call natural causes. Why people die? Simple question. Number one, because they get old, right? You become frail. Your health is deteriorated. People die because people get old. That is what in Genesis we read. In Psalm we read. All right, a person might be alive 80 to 100 years maybe. So health is number one issue. Psalm 90 talks about old age. Maybe Luke 131 talks about violence. Luke 13 talks about natural hazards, accidents, and even sickness, right? People die because of cancer. You don't have to get old. People die because of heart attack. You don't have to get old. It's easy. easy to die, right? Very easy to die. So I'm saying here this, that yes, it is easy to die, and the primary cause, there is natural causes for death. Now, this is known as natural cause. Now coming back to the moral cause. What is a moral cause? Moral cause is sin. Yes, while sickness and death are not always tied to a specific personal sin, could be sometime, but specific personal sin, but sin still behind the natural cause of death. Why people die? Because the entire universe is cursed, under curse. So all these things will happen. There will be violence, there will be accident, there will be sickness, everything is there. It all started because of sin. That's the reason Paul says, through one man sin entered into the world, and the death through sin. So death passed unto all men. Right? So I would say moral cause is sin. We have a beautiful verse in James. When lust is conceived, it gives birth to sin. When sin is accomplished, it brings forth death. So, absolutely, sin is the cause. Now, I wanted to add, sin is a moral cause. So, we talked about natural cause or a direct cause, moral cause. Now, we want to talk about ultimate cause. All right? Ultimate cause. What is the ultimate cause? Ultimate cause is God Himself. The reason why we die because God. Now, this is the place where people may not like, right? But that's what Bible says. God is not blameworthy for physical death. Humanity alone bears all guilt associated with death. God is not responsible for death, nor does He regularly intersect our normal time and space, continuing to kill men directly. There is no miraculous murder from God. He doesn't come to the earth directly to kill all the armies against you. No. However, physical death lies ultimately in the hands of God, right? So He determines when a person lives life. Who determines? God determines. Now let's look at these verses as we end, because the assessment of death, we need to have some time, right? So we'll spend some time. So let's look at this one verses. All right, let's take Samuel chapter 2. All right, I have verse, but let's read from the Bible. First Samuel chapter 2, verse 6. I want one of you to read. First Samuel chapter 2, verse 6. Anyone?
The Lord kills and brings to life. He brings down to Sheol and raise up.
Yes, the Lord, okay, and as we says, the Lord puts to death and makes alive. Let's go to Job 14:5.
Fourteen five. A person's days are determined. You have decreed the number of his months and have set limits he cannot exceed.
Yes, no one can exceed that day, right? That date. It's good to go to Psalm 66, verse 9. Psalm 66, verse 9.
Who has kept our soul among the living and has not let our feet slip.
Yeah, who keeps us in life, right? And NSB says, um, or NIV says he has preserved our lives. He has preserved our lives. Let's look at 104, Psalm 104, verse 29.
When you hide your face, they are terrified. When you take away their breath, they die and return to the dust.
Mhm. Right, very clear. It says, yeah, you hide your face, or when you hide your face, they're terrified. When you take away their breath, they die. When you take away. So, what do you read in these passages? That yes, no one dies without God's permission. No one goes from this world without God's permission, without God allowing him to leave his body. People can put their knife into your body. A car can come and hit you so hard till your soul will not leave you until God's time has come. Right? So that is what we learn about death. So when you look into the Bible, the causes of physical death, yes, there are natural cause, moral cause, and ultimate cause, which is God. All right.